welcome to a few Goldilock Bears podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about things we love, things that we hate, and things in the middle. This could be things that we're indifferent about, that we're ambivalent about, that we're on the fence about. These are the gray areas of life. These are the things that aren't in the black and white, that they don't maintain to your precious polar opposites.
Hello, this is Vincent Cloud.
I'm John Nemitz.
And I'm David Lauer.
And before we do lovely things and hateful things to ourselves and to each other,
And our loved ones.
Before we talk about any of those topics, let's talk about the old ones in the segment we call the Deja Fuse. Go ahead, John.
All right. So in the past, I talked about doing bits that only I think are funny. I've picked up on this super annoying one recently and I got this from like listening to like Paul F. Tompkins on podcasts where he'll notice if something is said in the cadence of the song Camptown Races, and then he'll say doodah. So like, if like, I don't like this furniture, like doodah, doodah. And like I noticed my wife is just constantly saying things in that cadence, like all the time. And like it's so hard for me not to like point it out. And like it's like obviously super annoying. And like I tried to do it like as subtly as possible, but I'm still like, doing it. And it's just weird, like once your brain starts looking for a pattern, how it notices it all the time.
Yeah, totally. Wait, so you didn't bring this up to her at all?
Well, no, I mean she knows exactly what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so then she didn't like it, or like,
Well, yeah, it's just annoying when like she's just trying to tell me something and like I have to interrupt it to be like, yeah.
that's great.
That sounds really hilarious. Like, and if someone like sets it up perfectly, it's like it'd be wrong not to slam dunk it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you just say things in that cadence way more than any other person I know. Like she has to be doing it on purpose.
gosh, I hope I remember this tomorrow. And just when I hear people talking, I'm just like randomly thinking about it, so I can do that. I was at work today, and someone said, "Oh, isn't that ironic?" And then somebody else said, "Uh, a little too," or I don't know. I forget the fucking lyrics to the Alanis Morissette song. Or
Don't you
she
think?
said like, "Don't you think?" Yeah, don't you
Yeah.
think? And then they're like, and then I was just like staring at my phone, like doing fantasy football, not paying attention to the conversation. And then like my coworker, she turns around, she like smacks me. She's like, "Dave," she's like, "You're supposed to do the third part to it," and go, "It's like rainy days." And I'm like, okay, I'm like, you're depending on the wrong person for this. I'm not paying attention.
Just minding my own business.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll try to remember for next time.
That's funny. I can't think of any now, but yeah, if someone says something and you're like, oh, that's music lyrics, you just want to like, that pops in your head and you could start singing from where they left off or whatever. They totally cue you up for something like that. Ah, now I don't remember.
I know
Yeah,
the worst one that's not funny at all is when somebody says like, "Oh, it's closing time," and then they start singing that closing time song, and you're like, "Oh God, stop!"
there's just
Oh,
a
that
ton of those from like the Comedy Bang Bang world of podcasts. Like, it's been a while.
great. Gosh. Uh, well, you know what? I say if only we knew lyrics that were like, now it's time to get the show started or something. Oh, let's get it started. Yeah. All right. Let's
Not
get
the
the show
original
started.
lyrics.
Go ahead, Dave.
Uh, all right, I want to talk about something I love. I love MTV's Unplugged series with Korn. Um,
A side of corn. Yeah, man.
yeah. Like MTV's Unplugged series is really great, I think. But I've only seen like a couple of them. I've seen like the Nirvana one, and then I saw this Korn one. And the Unplugged with Korn is absolutely amazing, and I freaking love it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. And then if you have like it's like they made a whole album of MTV Unplugged Korn of like the 10 songs they sang, and the album's like amazing. And I had always heard the song that they did with Amy Lee from Evanescence, Freak on a Leash. I had heard that recording before, and I always liked that version. I thought it was great, but I didn't know where it came from, and I knew nothing about this recording that they did. I think it's from 2007, 2006 or 2007. And I had no idea about it until like a month ago. I heard about it, and then I watched it, and I was just like, I was blown away by how good it was. And like, I'd seen like Unplugged. I kind of get it. I'm like, okay, it's like acoustic versions. You unplug your electric guitar and just play acoustic, and that's kind of what it was for like the Nirvana one. And it was very like very stripped down, just kind of like bare bones musical set. But that's where like the Korn one is a little different. While it is no electric guitar in there, and like the reason for that is like Brian Welch, like their lead guitar player, he left the band in like 2003. And then like I guess their drummer left the band like a month or two before this Unplugged was recorded. So it was just Jonathan Davis, the lead singer, it's him and then like the bass player, and they're like the only guys left in the band. And they're like so for this recording it wasn't they add so many other different types of acoustics, and there's like cellos and bass, there's piano, there's all these different percussion items and different types of drums that they're using. And where like a lot of Unplugged, I always, at least I had in my mind that it's like bare bones. This one with Korn, while it is like acoustic and it's not like electric guitar and stuff, they add so many different other elements to it that it just makes it so much different. And it like, I feel like it takes the songs from their albums and actually makes them better, and it elevates them in a lot of ways because his voice is like so raw and in your face, and you can hear it crystal clear. It's never being drowned out by guitar or loud banging metal drums. um I just, and there's so many good songs that they have, and like so many lyrics to songs that like I never really heard the lyrics until I heard this Unplugged version. And then I was like, wow, I really like resonate with those lyrics. Those are like super deep. And like for like Korn, it's just like a lot of screaming and his weird voice and like kind of ooh, and like all this weird stuff that I never like appreciated the lyrics and stuff like that. And like this MTV's Unplugged with Korn is like amazing, and it has all these different instruments. All these they have Amy Lee from Evanescence, like I said, and then there's also Robert Smith from The Cure does a song towards the end, and it's like absolutely amazing. It's so freaking good, and it like made me go on this thing where I'm just like watch or like listening to The Cure now because I'm like, oh
Nice.
man, it's like a band that I kind of just I've always heard about. And like since I have like a soft spot in my heart for like emo rock, it like it feels wrong of me, and I feel like I'm righting a wrong by like listening to The Cure because they're like the godfather of emo rock. Um yeah, I don't know. It's freaking awesome. I loved it.
I knew a girl who slept with the bassist of Korn.
Really? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, I was trying to hit on him backstage or whatever in the green room, and he wasn't having anything of it or whatever. He's like, actually, I'm trying not to sleep around and I'm trying to get sober and blah blah blah, right? So he like takes off into his bus, and then she just follows him into the bus and sleeps with him. Uh, Later that night, she was drunk and she was like, Vince, I've slept with over 100 guys. I'm like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah,
All
why
right.
not?
Like, yeah, I was like, I was like, no judgment here. I mean, corn, come on. Um,
I mean, no means no. I mean, the gender doesn't matter,
well,
right?
that was yeah, that was the one
Yeah,
thing I
for
was like,
sure.
man, he really did try to get away from you. Like that was the only thing I judged her on, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, because there's more to the story. Like, she broke him down, and he's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, then she's following him back. He's like, all right, fine. All right, just leave me alone.
make it quick. Okay, so I watched this and it was so weird. It turns out I've heard like every song that they played. And I've always been me I thought I was always meaning to like listen to Korn because oh my God, my friend Andy, he loved Korn so much he carved it into his skin with a knife. Oh my God, that's hardcore shit right there. Um,
That's why they spelled corn with a K, because you get those straight lines that are easier to cut.
right. But like I've heard all those songs. Like for sure I knew what Freak on a Leash was, and then like Twisted Transistor or something like that. Like I remember those distinctly. But yeah, I've heard these songs. So I'm like, oh, I'm familiar with this band and I think I like them. And yeah, I kind of wanted that the bass in particular. I did just his music, not anything else from him. But like his bass is like tuned down like really, really low and it sounds chunky whenever he plays it. And I was actually missing that. I wanted to hear that. It wasn't really there for me. That's my only complaint about this unplugged thing. Yeah. It was sweet. What do you gotta say about John?
Yeah, I've never been a big Corn listener, but I've also heard all the music just from friends who were into them. Like I listened to the Unplugged, or the like the YouTube, watch the thing, and it's like a nice chill listen and like very pleasant. Um, and like the everything they talked about was like super wholesome. Like, oh, this is for people who were bullied, and like everything was very, positive and uplifting. Um, enjoyed the Radiohead cover, of course. I interestingly, I thought like a lot of the stuff in the Unplugged reminded me of Incubus, that band.
Oh wow.
Like, just for whatever reason, just like, oh, that kind of sounds like them. Especially like the that Twisted Transistor. Um, but yeah, that oh, and then like the Japanese drummers at the end,
Yes.
like
That's
to
cool.
open up the final song. I thought that was really cool. And yeah, to Dave's point earlier, like how he basically said, like, trying to think how can I use this format to do like something additive rather than just stripping everything down. I thought was a really cool idea.
I wanna definitely check out like an actual album of theirs. Dave, are you deep enough where you're like, oh, check out this album and stuff like that?
Um, like the only album I would say I've is Freak on a Leash that I've listened to the whole thing. Like, I bought it like way back in the day, and like I didn't. There was like two songs I liked. It was Freak on a Leash and then Coming Undone. And so like I don't know that I could really give a recommendation on like what albums of theirs to listen to. I generally just kind of like their hits.
Yeah.
And I will just play that. But I think like Coming Undone and Falling Away from Me, those two songs are my favorite songs. Um, Twisted Transistor, I just don't, that song just does nothing for me. I'm not sure why. I just don't really care for it. Um,
Even on the unplugged version, you weren't a fan of it?
it was good, but it was it was in like out of the 10 songs, it was in like the bottom half for
Okay.
me because I feel like other songs were just better, but I don't know. Just Coming Undone and Falling Away from Me, both of those songs are just so freaking awesome, I feel like, on here. And then plus the Creep by Radiohead, and then Freaking Unleashed with Amy Lee is amazing. And then the song with The Cure, yeah.
But they
Oh, and
didn't
that
Sorry, they didn't do
I,
the scatting though on Freak on the Leash though, right? Was that I thought that was absent. You know, always like
yeah.
or whatever.
No, yeah, he doesn't do that. He just does the go, go,
All
go.
right.
And he just, yeah. Which, I mean, is fine because, I mean, I'm sure they kind of work that out in rehearsals where they're like, this might not work.
That's like one of the coolest parts. It's fucking awesome. A little disappointed in that. Yeah. Uh,
Now, I will say the Nirvana Unplugged is like one of my favorite albums like of all time. Like I just love like those versions of their songs and like all the covers they do there. Like I just think the unplugged format is such like a good idea. Like take these bands that you know and kind of force them to like reimagine their music or um just play other stuff they maybe wouldn't have played otherwise.
there's you got to check out Oasis Unplugged, not because of any performance or whatever, but like, okay, so if you know about Oasis, you know that it's like two brothers that hate each other, right? Well, they show up and it's just the one brother, Noel, and he's like, "Sorry, I guess Liam's got a bit of a cold or whatever, so you're stuck with the ugly four." You know, and he's playing, and he's not the lead singer. He writes the songs and he's the lead guitarist, but he's not the singer. So he's doing his best to do his brother's voice, right? Then, in the middle of the show, Liam, the brother, shows up in the balcony and he's drinking and shit, and he's heckling his own brother from the balcony. Eventually, Noel's like, "Shut up!" Like,
Wow.
it's awful. It's so horrible.
That sounds like some, like Spinal Tap kind of shit. Like just something you would make up for a sitcom or you know what I mean? Like not a real thing that happened in real life. That's crazy.
Yeah, that those guys, they they were entertaining just because of their relationship. It's yeah. Their VH1 behind the music is amazing. I would watch that every once in a while just for a good laugh. I'm like, I can't believe they're doing this shit. It's awesome. All right. Another Eric isn't Eric Clapton Unplugged like the most famous one? Like he won like best album or something like that with that. It's like,
Yeah, that I
I,
think
yeah.
so.
yeah, I've never heard it. I really want to see that one for sure.
Is that wait, your background, Dave? Is that corn for the corn?
Yes, it is. Corn. Everyone loves corn.
All right. Segue challenge. Actually, let's do it for real. What's the next one? Teachers getting paid so little. How do we go from, oh, the finances to school was unplugged or something like that?
And I bet Korn got a pretty good paycheck for that gig, unlike these teachers.
Oh, okay. So, my hate is teachers getting paid so little. So I worked, I mean, you kind of know that they're not paid very much. Like you just grow up hearing that, you know? And if you're paying attention while you're attending school, you hear about that stuff. You know, for some reason they have money for the football team, but not for the music room and shit like that, right? It's always that sort of bullshit. But just in general, they're not paid a lot. I also worked at a high school for a semester, and yeah, they had to buy their own school supplies for shit. And right away, you're like, well, that's not right. So if you weren't to take it out of your own pocket, we wouldn't be able to do the thing, the plan. What is it called? The Celsius? No, it's not.
Syllabus.
It's
Syllabus.
syllabus.
The Celsius.
We're stuck here with Fahrenheit.
I was thinking of
Obviously,
Celsius, the energy drink.
it's the lack of budget creates poor education where I'm like, the Celsius?
This is what you get, people.
Vince, this is why they're not paid much, all right?
No, man. I failed them. I don't think they failed me. Okay, so just being on that other side, um, it's like you have to choose your battles. And when it comes to students, it's like, do they pay me enough to care this much? It's that sort of thing. You hear that uttered, and um, you know, teachers having burnout, and I think it's caused because you don't feel like you're being appreciated because you're not getting paid a lot to do this. And like how awful that would have been to teach Dave or John or myself.
I was a
Like,
delight to be taught.
oh, were you? Okay.
I I have the report cards from fourth grade to prove it. I'm a delight to have in class.
So the and it would probably help with so when I went to apply to that school, I should have there was a red flag. There was a lot of turnover, and that always means it's a crappy place to work, or you're not paid enough or something. And so I should have known better. There was like three openings for a teacher's assistant. But I was like, oh, I want to do this. I think I could enjoy this and stuff. And I did. I enjoyed teaching the kids, but the, the teachers were actually kind of assholes. But maybe they wouldn't have been if their wallets were just a little fatter. We don't know. And I just have to mention this because this is fucking stupid. What's her name from WWE? Miss McMahon. She's the head of education. What are we doing here? This is ridiculous, man. Ugh. All right. Oh, and then there's like the cliche of like the all the teachers are alcoholics. It's true. Yeah, I was like, they're like, hey, Vince, we're gonna go to this place or whatever. I'm like, yeah, what are we gonna do? And they were just kind of like taken aback, like, drink. Like, oh, okay.
What do all poor people do, Vince? They drink.
So yeah, what do you guys have to say about teachers getting paid so little?
I mean, my mother was a teacher, so of course I would have liked them to have a few more bucks coming her way. Um, like, yeah, it's bizarre, like just when how people like think of education in general. It's just like, oh, I don't have kids that are school age, so I don't want to like pay taxes for stuff that happened at school. And it's like, don't you want to like live in a place where the kids aren't a bunch of dumb shits? Or like it's just so like selfish and short-sighted. Um, and like, yeah, there's just so many easier jobs. Like kids can be horrible, parents can be even worse, other teachers can be horrible. Like my sister is also like a grade school teacher now, and just some of the stuff she has to deal with, and like, um, like you're you're also like, oh, you're part IT person because like none of the other
Yeah.
teachers want to learn how to do any of that stuff, or um, you're also running the like the music or the drama club or all that kind of stuff. Like you're doing all this stuff on your extra spare time. Just yeah.
Raise your hand, I
Uh,
guess. I don't know.
I was deep in thought. Yeah, like it's pretty I don't know. It is like you guys have said. It's kind of stupid that because teachers don't get paid much because you'd like to you would like to have in society, you would like to have the people who have the most impact on the people of society make like a good wage, so it's like a desirable profession. Like to be a doctor is like a very great thing and they get paid well. And you could even argue that, doctors should get paid even more than what they get paid because they work so many long hours and they have such an important job. They're saving lives. And like teachers, they're teaching your kids, but anyone who's like been to a public school and you see all the kids at the public schools, you realize that the teachers are not just teachers, but they're almost like parents to these kids because a lot of these kids are just like their parents are like checked out. Like they don't care about their kids at all. And they're just like, I don't have to teach my kid how to read. The school will do that. I don't have to make sure he reads a book or, learns how to add, because like kids will show up to preschool, kindergarten, and they can't even point out colors or shapes. And it's like, what were the parents doing the first 4 years of this kid's life? They didn't like equip them with anything. So like, yeah, it's like being a teacher, they have to do so much already, but then you're expecting them to have to like teach all this entire like group of kids, and like some of the kids are where they should be intellectually and other ones are way further behind, and some of them have a good home life but some of them have a terrible home life. They might only have one parent. The one parent might be an alcoholic or addicted, or maybe they're working two jobs and they never, their kid is living with their grandparents, and just all the different stuff where like these kids are putting, they're in a bad situation just because of their bad parents, and then the teachers are expected like, well, come on, why didn't your class get, better grades on the state exams? Like you're being a bad teacher because your kids didn't do well. And it's like there's a lot of circumstances outside of just, what the teacher does in the classroom. And that, and obviously there are good teachers and there are bad teachers. Um, but yeah, there's one thing I was thinking about as you guys were talking was like in Ohio, there's Vivek Ramaswamy is a Republican who wants to be governor of Ohio. He was like in the primary to be president on the Republican side. I really, really thought very, very highly of this guy. I thought he was very intelligent, very articulate. But like over the last year, like the stuff he says just like makes no sense. And I'm like, are you an idiot? Like this doesn't work at all. Because he wants to like pay teachers more if their kids get higher test scores. And that makes sense if you don't understand anything about education or public schools. Like if you know nothing, then that seems like a good idea. But when you actually are like see like the kids in the classroom and like their situations and like if you're in a certain neighborhood or a certain town that's very poor and everybody's addicted to drugs, like these kids are not going to get good scores. Like, and it's not the teacher's fault that these kids are getting bad scores. The teachers can only do so much, and the teachers are only with these kids for 45 minutes to an hour a day. Then they go to their next class, and that's 45 minutes to an hour. And if you're only seeing them for an hour 5 days a week for 9 months of the year or 8 months of the year, like you can't put everything on the teachers and expect, oh, just teach them to get better scores and it's, then we'll pay you more. It's like, well, maybe you should pay them more, have higher standards for the teachers, vet them better, make sure that they have a good education, make sure that they know what they're doing. And, make sure the kids, like in the medical field, you have to do like standardized stuff where like you have to do continuing education and stuff. And I know teachers have to do some of this stuff, but you know, make sure that they're up to date and they're continuing their education, whether they're teaching history or science, obviously in like sciences and stuff like that. There's always advancements and stuff you got to keep up on. Um, I don't know. There's just so many people who think that there's like a blanket fix for a lot of problems, but it's like the problems are just fractured in like a million places and everything's in a million pieces. And it's like trying to put things together into a system that works. You're always going to miss something and not be able to totally fix it. And I don't know, just overall, I feel like people should get paid more if they have a bigger impact on society. Instead, you have people, the basketball players and football players who have no impact on society, but they're getting paid the most money, and it just seems kind of fucked up.
I'm not sure if this went through or it did happen, but in some state, they were like, because the they're getting so little teachers to sign up to be teachers, they were like, well, what if we take away the like mandatory college education to be a teacher? You could teach high school, but you didn't have to graduate college, something like that. Did you guys hear about any of that?
No, I did not hear about that.
Yeah, it
I
was.
know, I know not of like that specifically. I do know there's like emergency certification for some teachers in certain states where you don't have to go to college. Like you have to have a bachelor's in college. You have to have 4 years of college, but it doesn't have to be in the specific field where you're going to teach. So like you could go to college for business communications for 4 years, and then you could get a emergency certification if you pass some tests and go be a math teacher, in a totally different field. So like there's that stuff, which I mean, if you're passing certain exams and showing that you're competent in doing it, I think I'm okay with that. But yeah, like allowing teachers who have no education to be educators, that's super backwards.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I mentioned like how some of the teachers were assholes. I just have to say, I was hanging out with one of the students, and I don't know what we were doing something in the hallway, and the gym teacher shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are doing great work or whatever, right?" And he's
Was it
walking,
Paul Hogan?
right? And he was walking away, and the kid's like, "What? Where's he from?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Because and so anyways, he's down the hallway. Then he turns around and is like, "I'm from Australia. Maybe take a geography class." It's like, would
Do they
geography teach
do
us
they teach you
accents?
accent? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that typical gym teacher, those who can't do teach, and those who can't teach gym, motherfucker. Oh my God, that guy was so annoying. I hate like I was completely disenfranchised when I worked at that high school. Like so many fucking the ego of the teachers. You had to acknowledge them in the hall, even though they wouldn't sometimes acknowledge you back, And like if you just walked into their classroom without saying something to them, they'd get all huffy and puffy and ugh, awful. Uh,
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely teachers who, it's so weird to me because they don't get paid much money. So, like, if you don't like the job, then why are you doing this job? Other than there's good benefits and there's really good hours, like you get summer vacation. Um, but like, it's so weird when people are like, they don't like their job and they're just like, oh, these damn kids, I freaking hate them. They drive me to drink. And it's like, what? Then don't work there. Like, if you're burnt out and you don't like doing the job, like, you should definitely find something else to do. You probably make more money doing something else.
that
Yeah, in
late in
fact,
life, though.
I was gonna say our one of our high school math teachers, I just heard like from my parents that he did like some handyman work for them because he's just like,
What?
yeah, he's like, I like this better than teaching the damn kid. No, he didn't say that, but like, um, it's like basically, I think to the point where he can live like just full time off of just, doing handyman work around town and like give up being a teacher and still like be fine financially.
You said math teacher?
Yeah.
So I would know one of these because I'm thinking of two math teachers.
Our freshman algebra teacher.
Mr. S.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the other guy, he was kind of a pervert. Like
Yeah.
girls would go and like, wear low cut shirts and like lean over and like, oh, I didn't do my math test the other day. I'm sorry. He's like staring down, like real obvious. He's like,
Wow.
oh, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, so gross. And he also fucking liked to walk around naked in the locker rooms with the guys and just like prop up his leg, like, so you did a good job out there. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, he was just an all around perv.
Yeah,
Ugh.
not him, the other one.
Oh, okay. But you know what? Still though, I like the handyman guy. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was like my one of my top like favorite teachers in all of high school, I thought.
What about Mr. Penker, the science teacher?
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
He was cool. One more. The English teacher who looked like Edgar Allan Poe and wanted to look like
Oh
him.
yeah. Fuck. Yeah, because he had like the picture of Poe and Einstein, and he kind of looked like both of them mixed together.
Yeah, it's cool. All right.
Mr. W.
Yes, yes. All right. Should we do a segue challenge into optimizing a game? So, how do we do that?
Those who can't teach optimize. Doesn't make any sense.
Maybe if you had an education, you would make it make sense.
All right. I am indifferent to the idea of like basically when you play a game, figuring out like the optimal strategy and then just playing optimally all the time. Um, so like where I am a fan of it and do enjoy it is like video games. Like I've talked about video game speed running, and that's like the ultimate version of that is like um, can you play this game like the optimal way to get through it as quickly as possible? Um, on the other hand, it kind of ruins the game for like casual play. Like you just like, oh, I don't want to explore. I don't want to see what this does. I don't want to see what's over there. Like I just want to go through as fast as possible. Um, where I'm more unsure about it is like board games, especially like board games you would just play casually with friends. Like sometimes you'll discover like a mechanic that like um if okay, like if I don't know, just for an example, like if I play Monopoly and you know, I know that if I get the green and the yellow ones that I'm gonna win every time. So I'm just gonna like do everything I can to do that, not think about anything else. And like it just kind of like ruins the game for playing with friends because like you you know what you need to do and how to do it and like it takes the um creativity out of it. Um or even like casino games where like blackjack where there's like an optimal way to play to what I don't know what you win like 95% of the time then or something like that. Um and like obviously like you're gambling with real money, so you want to like make sure to increase your chances of winning as high as possible. But like when you're sitting there playing, you're like, okay, I don't want to be like an automaton, just like following the rules. Like sometimes you want to go with your gut and be like, you know what, I feel like the dealer's gonna bust. I'm gonna, go differently. Or yeah, I know I've got 17, but I feel like there's a low card next. I wanna hit, like it the there's a like part of me that just like it enjoys the art of the optimization and figuring all that out, but then like that's that's the fun part, and then playing the game optimized isn't fun anymore. So you're kind of ruining it for yourself.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you like problem solving, right? Like,
Hmm.
wasn't that a topic of yours? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I get that. Just kind of chiseling away and figuring out the straight line from A to B. Yeah. Well, I don't I don't play too many games just with my heart. My own heart, I guess. Uh, you guys ever play Super Mario 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that game. In fact, that was going to be a love. but I wanted to wait till I conquered it, and I don't know if I ever will. But I don't mind. I don't care. Like I actually really like how difficult it is, you know? Like I had to be so precise in everything. I had to do everything to the letter, you know? And usually I don't like that. For some reason, I like to usually be looser in my video games and stuff. But it appealed to me because as soon as I finally conquered that stage, it's like, all right, on to the next one and stuff. And thankfully, you have some ways to save or to jump some worlds so you could, you know. Um, but yeah, it was funny though. I noticed that after playing that game for hours, everything has to be precise and stuff, no wasted movement. When I put in UFC 3 after a while, I put that in, and my playing improved like crazy, like no wasted movements, like everything. I was like zeroed in and stuff. But that's the closest thing to optimization. I don't know codes and shit. Yeah, I'm. That's all I have to say about that. Mr.
Yeah.
Lauer in the back. If
Oh,
if
yes, thank you for
if you're
calling
not
me
You
paying
in
that.
front of the
attention, we're
corn.
gonna we're gonna move you in the front seats, Mister. If you're not paying attention.
No, 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 no. I can hear and see you just fine back here. Uh, yeah, like I always play the game Madden, like the football game. Well, I used to. I don't play it anymore. I used to play it like back on PlayStation 2 with like Madden 2003, 2004, 5, 6, and 7. I played Madden. I would buy it every year, and I loved playing the football game. And basically, when you have certain plays, every team has a different playbook, but for the most part, like every play has the same like route concepts where your wide receivers are just going to run 5 yards and stop and turn around, or they'll go left or right, or they'll go up the field and diagonal. And you just have so many different routes options. And when you're playing against a defense, you kind of notice what defense they're playing. Are they playing zone or man, cover two, cover three, cover one? And once you kind of analyze and you know the play that you've called and the defense that they're playing, and you can see it before you snap the ball, you know exactly where to go with the ball. And you can optimize the game because you know, well, if I run this play against this defense, it's always going to work. Because the computer, it's like playing like chess against a computer, but the computer's only at a certain difficulty where you know like I can do this move and it's not going to have the proper response back to it to try and stop it. And then I can just like play the same play over and over and it's the game will never stop me if I keep running this play. And then it becomes boring because it's just like, well, I figured out the game. I can just run this play or like these set of like four plays and just win. And the reason that like Madden doesn't work as a game for me anymore, and I don't understand why people play it, is because now you have the internet and you can play against other good players online. And good players online, they will run the same two or three plays the entire
Oh
game,
man.
and they'll have success the entire game, only playing three different plays because they know, well, if you're playing this defense, I do this play. If you're playing this defense, I do this play. And I'm like, this is not fun. It's more fun if you hit the random, like, what would Madden want to call for a play? And John Madden will suggest a play. Then you just have to play the play that they want you to and try and make that work, even against a tougher defense. You're just a player and your like coach is calling the play that you're going to run. Like that's more entertaining to me where you like try to make something out of nothing. Um, yeah, and it's like for also for like first person shooter games that I've played, if like once I'm like good at it and I know the levels and the maps and I know the strategy and like where you're trying the map control where you're trying to keep them over in their spawn and you're trying to protect this area of the map. Once you know that, you can kind of just like optimize it and be like, I need to hold this area, you hold that area, and then this person will hold this area. And then if we do that successfully, there's no way we're going to lose. And then at that point, it's just like, well, this is boring now. Like, I want to have fun. This is a video game. I want to have fun. So then it's like, well, I'm gonna start just trolling people and using like gag weapons. I'm gonna use rocket launchers, throwing knives, hatchets. Like, playing Call of Duty, and you're just like, I'm gonna have fun and just do whatever I want. And I'm like, I literally, it's more fun to just run around with a pistol and just like own people who are taking it super seriously. And you're like, I don't even care if my team wins or not. I'm just gonna have fun. And like, I enjoy that more. I don't know. Where like I used to just like take it seriously. Now it's just like I just want to do stuff to have fun and kind of troll people. And like that aspect is more entertaining to me.
Yeah, what would that be called? Spamming or something? When you're just doing the same thing over and over again? Is that what it's called? Or not? That's
Well, it depends on the type of game that you're playing. Like if you're playing like a fighting game like a UFC 3, you'd be kind of just spamming the same moves over and over that are kind of difficult to counter.
right.
Um, it's more like trolling.
Trolling.
Why can't
Cheesing.
real NFL teams do that? Just see what defense they're up against and do the same play and always
Audible.
be successful. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, if is that a serious question?
Yeah, and like the answer to that, make Madden work that way then.
Well, yeah, you should have it where if you see a play once in the game, the defense should learn how to defend it and be like, oh, if they line up in this position, it's a likelihood that they're going to run that play, so we know to defend it properly.
Right.
And yeah, if they did it that way, if Madden like actually had that bit of intelligence, or like because no team would ever call the same play like 8 times in a row, you should have a limit. You're only able to call a play twice in a game, unless it's like a run up the middle or something basic like that where you need to use it multiple times strategically.
Um, Ace is America's place, right? For friendly hardware folk, right? It's a reach. Come on, he was in those commercials. Come on. Yeah,
If
because
you
I have
say
nothing
so.
else to. I have nothing else to. Well, you guys don't remember those Ace commercials? Oh my gosh.
Mm-mm.
I remember with John Madden,
Yeah,
I remember the tough acting Tinactin and
well,
the
there was that
athlete's foot.
too,
I
for
remember
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
That
gosh, all
that one
right.
spoke more to me. I was more likely to have athlete's foot than to buy a hammer.
uh, well, you know what? I have nothing else to say about this.
We
Is it?
optimized the hell out of this topic, and there's nothing more for us to find in it.
Yeah. So that's the end of the show. You know what? Listeners from EC Hometown Radio, this is our third to last episode. Uh, and so if you want to continue listening to us, go to the website, which we'll mention later on. And then we're also on other platforms like Spotify and whatnot. Yeah. I was Vincent Cloud.
I was John Nemeth.
And I'm David Lauer.
Tell them about the email, John.
Oh, well, like we're sick of coming up with our own topics, so get these lazy listeners and viewers to help us out a bit. So if you have something that you love, hate, or are indifferent to, send an email to topics at a few goldilockbears.com. Um, we'll put a link in the show notes here and tell us what you love, hate, or are indifferent to and why. And maybe we'll talk about it on the show.